so we had the first class at the end of June, which I think was very, very introductory. And for those of you who've never used Scrivener, it's a very interesting introduction. But what I want you to keep in mind is that this is a computer program, and the best way to learn it is to use it and to practice and to press buttons and to see what happens. Okay, that's the way. Okay. Um, so I know what I do with these kinds of tutorials is I know I did it with our previous class. I'd watch a little bit and I'd pause it and I'd go press the buttons. And I'd watch a little bit and I'd pause it and I'd go press the buttons. And the more you do that, you'll find it easier to use. So tonight is obviously the slightly more advanced class, meaning you have used Scrivener before, you've fiddled with a few buttons, and I think Oliver's going to show us some really cool tricks. I know I've been using Scrivener, I think, for 3 years now, and I know I'm only skimming the surface. I mean, I have just got my manuscript in there and it's doing the thing, but I know there's so many cool, awesome things to do with it. Shirley, I use Scrivener on a Mac, and I've got the tiniest little MacBook Air, so it works beautifully for me. It doesn't hang, I don't have issues, so that's really cool that I can do that. So just see what you can get up to and what you can get going. Also, Patty says, do you think you've been using Scrivener exclusively since our class? So just see what you can get up to there. I'm also going to mute everybody, not because I want to be mean or rude. It's just that this is usually where the delivery guy arrives, the dog barks, the kids are thirsty, and all of these fun things happen all at once. You all have the ability to unmute yourself at any time. So if you do have a question, please go. The other option is there is a reaction button. And at the moment, it's at the bottom of the black bar on your screen. If you hover over the bottom, there is a little white heart that says react. When you hit react, there is a button. I just want to double check. Yeah, right at the bottom that says raise hand. When you raise hand, it moves you to the top of my screen and I can see that you have a question. Okay, because it's a big class, so we have two people over two screens or several people over two screens. If we could just take a look and just keep up with what we are doing. Yeah, so Tony, if you've never used Scrivener, just deep breaths and see what's awesome and what's happening. And then, of course, I will share the link to the beginner's class again, and then you can watch it from the beginning. And like I said, it is a matter of watch the video, pause the video, press the button, watch the video, pause the video. Okay, that's what we're going to do. But Scrivener is awesome. I love it. I think it's amazing. So Oliver, I'm going to stop now and it is over to you. So thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you. And real quick, can you give me host privileges? Looks like I can't
Oh,
share my screen.
sorry. No, that's a crisis. You need to be able to do that. Sorry, that was
Thank
one
you.
of the reasons I was going to start the meeting early. Um,
Yeah, I
and
forgot to, so
yeah.
it's okay.
So okay, you are officially a co-host. There we go. And
Perfect.
I'm going to mute everyone, including myself. So Oliver, I'm probably going to mute you too. So please unmute and then.
Okay, there we
Oh, Oliver, I muted you again. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Sorry.
You guys see that?
Yeah,
Looks
we got that.
perfect. Okay. Well then, oh wait, it's on the wrong. For some reason, the order of my screens, everything has changed. Give me just a second while I
Oh, it was probably a
switch.
delightful computer update, and your computer did it all by itself just to help you.
I know, right? It loves doing that. There we
Yeah,
go. Okay,
so
I
kind.
think that should do it. Yeah, it's like desktop 2 is now desktop 1 and it was like, what is going on? Anyway, well, thank you guys so much for having me again. Really excited to be here and share more with you about Scrivener. This is kind of my follow-up to our last session, but the good news here, if you're a brand new person, never been to Scrivener, this is still a lot of introductory material, so don't feel like you have to go rewatch part 1 to understand part 2. No, this can be a great place for you to be. So let's just dive right in here. Just so you know who I am Oliver Evanson. I'm the outreach specialist for Literature Latte. I'm a writer, I'm an editor, I'm a Scrivener writing mentor, and I've been doing this for the better part of 15 years. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I don't know if we have any new people with us who didn't catch this last time, but if you want to reach out to me, you can do so at these locations right there. Contact at ogevinson.com. I do have a newsletter if you'd like to be a part of that. And I have been publishing my own my debut novel on Substack. So if you're interested in reading that, check that out at oliverevanson.substack.com. A lot of fun stuff going on. Anyway, well, let's just dive right in here. I want to get into it, get talking about it, and let's talk about our schedule real quick. So I want to spend a few minutes just going over a few things. First off, we're going to talk about start with a short introduction to our topic and what you should expect to learn today. There are 6 tools that I'm covering today, and I'm pretty confident you're going to like each one of them. And after we've gone over our training, we're going to jump into some free resources. I'll cover those again for you so you can learn exactly where to go to get started to help you deepen your understanding of Scrivener and improve your writing skills. And I'll also leave ample time at the end for our Q&A so we can kind of get through as many of your questions as possible. Okay. So let's talk about it. What are you going to learn today? So there are 6 tools I want to teach you. And the first one is the corkboard. How to use the 3 corkboard modes to brainstorm and outline your next Scrivener project. Now, after the corkboard, we're going to take a look at the outliner, which is another view that Scrivener offers to help you expertly track your project's progress. Okay, that's one of my favorite tools. I love using that one. I think you're going to enjoy that. Number 3, we're going to look at using project and document bookmarks to keep the key files right at your fingertips when you need them. Number 4, we're going to look at Scrivener's composition mode, how to remove distractions that still have access to the tools you need most. And 5, we're going to use linguistic focus or dialogue focus on a PC to highlight different parts of speech within your document, such as nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, and direct speech. And last but not least, we're going to look at a tool called the name generator to help you generate various names ideal for your next writing project. Okay. And I'm confident by the end of this session, you should be able to take your Scrivener project to a whole new level. And I'm excited to help you do just that. So without further ado, let's start talking about our first tool, the corkboard. Now, Scrivener's corkboard offers an organized visual approach to managing your writing projects. The digital corkboard lets users create, arrange, and rearrange virtual index cards, each with summaries or with key points. Now, providing an overview of your project structure, the corkboard helps writers like you grasp the big picture and make adjustments easily, whether you're plotting a novel, drafting an academic paper, or planning a screenplay. Scrivener's corkboard breaks complex tasks into manageable segments, fostering creativity and maintaining a professional workflow. Now, you can use this tool just about any stage of the writing process, from brainstorming all the way up through revision. Now, let's look at that. The corkboard offers 3 distinct views. It gives us our linear view, which is kind of the default view that everyone should be familiar with, or even if you're new, it's the first view you're going to see. And then second option, we have our free form view, where we can kind of just move the index cards anyhow we want to in a free form space. And then last but not least, we can actually group our index cards by specific labels that we can set up in Scrivener. I find that very handy. It's a great way to kind of color code your index cards, focusing on maybe specific themes or ideas or even point of views or characters. So let's go ahead and dive right in, and let's look at the corkboard right away. Okay. Switch over here. Okay, sorry, I had to figure out, because my order changed, I had to figure out which screen to share. There we go. Okay, so we got that pulled up right there. When we open up Scrivener, it should open up to our new project window, typically right here to our getting started screen. And let me get my notes pulled up here too, so I don't get lost. Okay, there we go. So we're going to look at the corkboard first, but first we have to set up a project to choose from. So I'm going to go ahead and use my starter novel template that I have. It's a free template anyone can get by signing up for my newsletter. Go ahead and create that real quick. It's very similar to the novel template, so if you're using the novel template, you could use that as well. We'll just call this we'll call this my 4th novel, because I've written a lot of novels this week. Let's create. There we go. And we'll make that nice and big so everyone can see it. So when we first open Scrivener, whether you're on the novel template, you're probably going to end up with some sort of like guide or template starter to kind of get you where you're going. If you're on a blank template, it's just going to be like a blank document, right? But we'll open this up. We'll kind of look around. And first off, how do we get to our corkboard view? What's the best way to get there? We can go to View, Corkboard, or we can click one of the view modes right here in our toolbar. It's the second one right in the middle. It'll take us right there. Now you may notice when I clicked it, it didn't do anything, right? Because I only have a single document selected. There's nothing inside that document. So if I want to view things in the corkboard, I have to have a folder selected. So if I go up a level to my chapter template here, you can see I can see the 2 scenes stored inside of it. If I go up to the act level, I can see all the chapters that will be stored inside of that act. If I go up to the book level, I can see all the acts or parts as part of that book. And also up to the series level, technically, I could see all of the books that are in my, what do you call it, in my draft folder here. Okay. Now, you don't have to have it set up as book 1, book 2. You could have this be a manuscript folder, and this could just be book 1 right here to start. But that's just how this template is set up to have a series here and books stored inside of it. Okay. But you can see very easily, we can kind of see what's going on with the corkboard. I just love that I can look at all the parts. I can look at all the chapters inside of it. So if I add in more chapters, for example, let's go ahead and do that. A couple more chapters here. Just kind of see that we can see very quickly how nice and easy this would be to go ahead and start outlining, brainstorming, editing, whatever it is we want to do, we can do it right here. Okay. So this is the linear view where if we move something around here, it's going to change over here. So to give you an idea, let's call this chapter 1, sorry. And we'll call this one chapter 2, this one chapter 3. Now, normally I give very descriptive names, but just for our purposes, you can kind of see this. If I move over chapter 1, what happens to our binder? It moves it around. And this is also why I give descriptive names, because what if I decided that chapter 1 was actually chapter 2? Anytime I move that around, and if I actually make that change, I'll have to come here and change the name. And I'll have to come back over here and change the name as well. That's why typically I recommend you just give a descriptive name. Like, let's say this was chapter 1 was the rising sun. And chapter 2 was, the I can't even spell. I don't know. We'll just put in words. Long hero. Friendly faces. You can see while we don't see that number anymore, it makes it a little more usable. If I want to make friendly faces chapter 1, I can easily just move it around. And that's what the linear corkboard does. Anytime I make a change, it's going to change it in the binder here for me. And that's the default mode that everyone should see. Now, if I wanted a slightly less destructive or, slightly different view where I can kind of move things around without worrying about my binder being changed, without my structure changing here, that's when I would want to go to the freeform corkboard view. And I can do that right here in the bottom right corner. I know it's kind of hard to see. There's a little freeform corkboard button right there. Or I can just go up to the help menu here and search freeform right there. You can see it's going to pop up here. It's going to be under View, Corkboard Options, Freeform. We'll just click that right there. And now I can actually move these around freely. And you'll notice nothing is changing in the binder there at all. It's not changing anything. I can move it anywhere I want to. I can stack them on top of each other if I wanted to, like this. And I could even come down here to the bottom left corner and create more folders right here. Create a bunch of them. I can move those around as I please. I can even right click inside, go to add. Now, typically you'll see me using templates versus just creating a new folder. So I'll probably come to new from template and click my chapter template right there and add another one. And I just love that I can come in here. I can kind of just as if I had actual physical index cards in my hand, except for I'm doing it all digitally, right? I can type in the chapter title. If I hit return, I can type in my key points. Key points or summaries, right here. And makes it really easy to just kind of group related ideas together like so and can decide how you want things to be. Now, let's say you get an order you like. You're like, okay, I want it like this, and I like those like that. Let's do like that one like here. Something like that, right? I said, this is the order I want to commit to. This is what I want my binder order to be like, okay? So what would I do? How would I make that happen? So there's a button here in the bottom right corner that says commit. I click that button, and it's going to commit the freeform corkboard order. And so I can start at the top and go from left to right. I could start at the bottom and go left to right. I could start at the left and go top to bottom. However I want to do it is just fine. We're going to, for simplicity's sake, we're going to go from top and then we're going to go left to right. So it's going to start at the top here and then everything left to right. That's how it's going to organize my binder over here. So if I click OK, there it goes. It made that change for me and put them all in that order. So we have the Rising Sun, new folder, chapter template, friendly face, chapter title, new folder, and then last but not least, the long hero. So that's how you kind of use the freeform corkboard. It's a very great view. I really like using it a lot, just kind of keeping things fluid without, requiring me to commit to any given structure right away. Now, from there, we can actually move into our arrange by label view, which is right here, also in the bottom right corner. You may notice that we have a bunch of little tiny tools here in the bottom right corner of our corkboard here. And that's where the arrange by label view is. We can also go to help and type arrange. Oops, if I can spell. By label. There it is. And you can see it's also in view, corkboard options, arrange by label. Oops, lost it there. And there we go. Now, because we haven't set up any labels in this project, you'll notice that nothing has been assigned. Okay. So if I wanted to assign a label, I could click on this. I could right click and I could add a label to it like so. Or even simpler, I could just drag and drop it down to wherever I want it to be. Now, on its nose, this may not be particularly useful if we don't have labels doing something, right? So for example, here, you can see I have like a to-do label here. Maybe what I'll do is we'll take this as that, and we'll delete that one there. So we have a to-do, and we'll get rid of our orange. We'll do this one as in progress, okay? We'll do this label as done. And let's see here. Maybe blue as a first draft. Like so. Now, this isn't the only way you can use labels. There's lots of fun ways you could use a label. But for our purposes, we'll go ahead and do this. And so we can look at this now. Now these labels suddenly take on a different meaning. Either there's no label assigned, right? Or it's to do, right? These all need to be done. They need to be worked on. Or maybe this one is done. It's in progress, right? Now you may notice when I shift it down like this, that means it's changing its order slightly in the binder here. You can see it moving there in the binder as they shift it down. That's what makes a difference in terms of like where it is in the length of this line here. The more I shift it down, the further up or down the binder it goes. In this case, it's going further up the binder. And as I bring it up this way, it's going down in my binder. Okay. But I just love that you can come here. I can assign if I'm using it for status, like, hey, this is first draft. This one needs to still be worked on. This was in progress. This one's in progress, maybe in progress. Maybe this one is done. And it's a very excellent way to go through here and just quickly, see what needs to be worked on. I can look and say, okay, I've got all my labels signed. These are all to do. I need to get working on this one. These ones are in progress. Maybe I'll work on one of those. And this one is first draft. I could revise that one, or I could just look at what I've got finished and be happy. Yay, I got everything done. Wonderful. Right? So a really nifty tool. That's one way to handle it. I often use labels to keep track of point of view characters. I write multiple viewpoint novels. And so a lot of times I want to keep track of the arrange by label view as if it were a timeline. And so I can kind of see the characters' arcs as they're moving throughout the story in this kind of visual pattern. I really like that. Now, another really cool thing about this mode is I can actually switch it from this kind of horizontal view to a what do you call it? To a vertical view here. That's the word I'm looking for. Sorry. And so it's the same idea, right? Except for now we move them from left to right and up and down, right? This is more. I think this makes a little bit more sense with our binder here, which is already in this way, right? Which is already vertical. So it might make more sense. But if you like this view, that's great. If you don't, you can always switch it back. If you want to find out how to do this up here, you can see there it is, arranged by label layout. That's in view, corkboard options, arranged by label layout. And you can do it, it says, in either rows or columns right there. Okay. And I can switch that back down here too. Now, personally, I don't know why I like the left to right better than the top to bottom. That's just a personal preference. It just feels more like a timeline to me, I feel like, when I'm doing it this way. But it may make more sense for some of you to switch it over here, depending on what you're using your labels for. Now, another really cool thing about all of these views, okay, let's turn it off. Let's go back to our just our regular linear view here, is that I can navigate inside the corkboard really well too. So I could actually, let's just turn off the binder for a second. Let's say I'm in Act 1, right? I can actually go into the Chapter 1 here by double-clicking the icon. And that'll take me inside here. So I could come here and I could give some titles to my scenes. Long and Lonely Road, right? And I could give a synopsis key point here, right? And then once I'm ready to start writing that, I can actually double-click that icon and just it'll take me right into that scene. See, I'm now in the Long and Lonely Road scene, and I can start writing right away. And when I'm ready to go back, just click my back button and right back where I was. I can click back again to go right back out again, and so on and so forth. So it's pretty handy. If you ever feel like you're getting lost, of course, you can just come here, show your binder. I like to start up here with the series, so I can just go into book 1, into Act 1. And I can kind of navigate through this like so. Really handy. But that's just a kind of a fun little thing you can do for navigating quickly. You don't always have to depend on your binder for that navigation. You can do it right here inside the corkboard. Okay, let's see. And that works as well in here as it does in here as well. So it doesn't matter which view you're in, you can click that icon, it'll take you there. Now, there are a few other things we can do for our corkboard options. In the bottom right corner here, there are some options here. You can click that right there. It's like 4 little index cards. And you can actually adjust the card size. Personally, I like to keep them smaller because I don't want to keep my summaries very condensed. And so I could just quickly read it and know what's going on. I do have a tendency to overwrite sometimes. And I'm like, if I get to a point where I'm writing more than a paragraph or two, I think I need to get started writing the scene rather than writing it here. But you can see, if I wanted to, I could write a very, very long summary, synopsis, notes, whatever. It's totally up to you. Oops, let me switch back to that. But personally, I keep that pretty small. And so even you can adjust the ratio. You can make the cards longer or shorter. I kind of like this 5x3. Maybe let's do a 5x2. Make it just a little bit bigger. So it's still kind of short, but I get a little bit more width there. I like that a lot. I can adjust the spacing between the cards. I can bring them closer together. It's a bit too close. Or I can keep them far apart. I can even force so many cards across. Let's say I want 1 card across, 2 cards across, 3, and so on. Right? Like so. Now, personally, automatic is great. Auto just means that whatever size the window is here, it's going to fit those cards across. So if I adjust my binder over here, once again, you can see it's going to give me less space there to work with. So, but you can mess around with that, have some fun with that, kind of figure out what's going to be good for you. Personally, I really like this view. Something that's small, keeps me on task, and encourages me to write less in the summaries here. I want to write less so that I spend less time writing outlines and more time actually writing the content itself. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Okay, I think that's all for our corkboard mode. So I'm going to switch back to our presentation. Let's go with desktop 2. Okay. And we will dive right in to the outliner. Okay. So next we're going to talk about the outliner. Okay. Now the outliner in Scrivener is, I think, one of the most underrated and yet most exceptionally powerful tools that Scrivener has to offer. It has an excellent comprehensive overview of your writing project. It enhances organization and planning efficiency. And I'm a big planner myself. I love planning. And so I like to see my progress. And I love that I can come here and see that happening. You can kind of think of this view as an expanded view of our binder. We get to see the structure of our project while also, seeing a bunch of interesting information about what's going on in that project. So it kind of provides a hierarchical perspective of your manuscript, complete with customizable metadata such as synopsis, word count, status, and so much more. And it is an invaluable tool for managing very complex writing projects, giving you that bird's eye view of the entire structure. So let's go ahead and let's look at that. But before we do, I think I'm going to save us a little bit of time of moving back and forth. Let's look at our next tool too, and we'll kind of do two tools at a time. After the outline, we're going to take a look at bookmarks. Now, bookmarks are great because they enable quick access to related documents or reference, reducing the time spent searching for material and increasing your efficiency. Whether you're just linking research notes or other sections of your manuscript or external files, bookmarks ensure everything you need is just a click away on the project or document level. And that's really important. We can have key documents that are available everywhere in our project, or we can have just documents or links that are available just in that specific document, the ones that we just need for that document. Okay, let's dive right in here. Let's do it. I'm going to go ahead and share that. And we'll be on our way. Okay, so let's look at the outliner. So much like the corkboard, when we click the outliner, it's going to be up here in the group mode or the view mode, as the case may be. And we're going to click that right there, and that's how we get there. This takes us straight to our outliner. We can also go to View, Outline right there, and you'll see there are also some keyboard shortcuts bounded here as well. Command 3 on a Mac and Control 3 if you're on a PC. Okay. So there we go. That pulls it up right here. And by default, you'll probably see something just like this. You'll see the title and synopsis. You'll see some labels assigned, a status, and section type. Now, in our case, we've kind of used labels to keep track of status. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the regular status list here. And we don't typically need to see the structure of our project, though. However, it might be useful. For example, these are, let's see here. These are not chapter headings right here are Act 1, Act 2A, 2B, Act 3. These are actually parts. So I'd probably want to come here just real quick and hold down my Shift key, push the down key, and I can actually change these to make sure that Scrivener is in fact referring to these as the right thing. This is a part. So make sure that the O's are all set up as part. Now, most often Scrivener gets the structure right, but sometimes it doesn't. In that case, I can go ahead and make that change. Now, if I open up Book 1 and Act 1 here, you can see I have all the chapter headings inside. That's looking good. Yep, and so on and so forth here. Now, there are a few things we can do to make this view particularly useful for us, okay? Now, in our case, we're going to focus primarily on optimizing this view for tracking our progress in Scrivener. So first off, you may notice here that there are some numbering here. I don't recall if that's turned on by default. I don't think it is. But if it is turned on, you can see, for me, that gets a little bit confusing because it's doing 1.1, 1.1.1.1, and that's because of all this structure I've created here. We have, this is 1.0, and this is like 1.1, this is 1.1.1, and down and down and down it goes. So usually I'll go over here to this little arrow, or I'll right click here on the thing, and I'll make sure I turn off with numbers so I can just see the actual names here. That's good enough for me. Then I'll right click here and I'll say, okay, I don't necessarily need my synopsis, so I'm going to turn off my synopsis. You can see that kind of tightens it up a little bit. Looks a little bit more familiar, a little bit more like our binder here. Now, if you have fairly short synopses, or you just want to be able to see those synopses, it's really easy to come back and check that box again, turn it back on. In our case, since we don't have too many, I'm going to go ahead and keep it off. Now we have our labels here. We're going to keep that there. We'll put those as to do. It's really easy to come here. You can see I can just quickly change everything in this view and get an idea of where I'm at. So this one is probably in progress, right? These are all to do. First draft, yep, that's looking good. So if we close that up, we can see that Act 1's in progress, Act 2A, 2B, and Act 3 they still need to be done, right? If we open that further, we see even more going on there. You can see these are on first draft, these ones are done. So we're actually pretty close to being done here, right? By, according to our labels here, if we've assigned things correctly. Now there's more we could do here. We could actually add in total words. Now there's no words in here yet, but let's go ahead and add them in so we can see. We can do total word count. We could add in total target. We'll talk about that in just a minute. And we can also add in total progress. Okay. And what this is doing, in my case, you'll see some of these new folders, for example, they don't have any target associated with them whatsoever. But the templates, they had targets assigned them. So each chapter had a target of, it looks like 750 plus 1,250. You didn't think you'd be doing math today, did you? But we are. About 2,000 words. Yep, there we go. So that means there's 2,000 words here. I guess I could have just looked at that right there. But 2,000 words there, and that's made up of these two scenes right here. And right now, there's just 2 words in there. So we haven't gotten anywhere close to that target, right? So very quickly, I can get at a glance and see how close I am, how well I'm doing. Now let's go ahead and open up one of my other projects here. I'm just going to copy some text over so that we can kind of see this a little bit better. Let's grab this here. Just grab prologue, and we'll drop it in to this guy right here. Okay. Okay, there we go. I think. And okay, we've well gone over our words here. 2,661 out of 750 word target. Let's cut this in half a little bit. I think I'll just right here, just grab that guy and we'll stick it in scene template here. Okay, and either way, we still go way over. But so we can see this now. Let's go back here. Okay, oh, that's looking a little bit different now, right? We have our total words inside the rising sun. Okay, if we open that up, we can see exactly where that is. The long and lone road, that's 1,231 words with a 750 word target. And the scene template here has 1,400 words with that 1,250 word target. And we can even see that progress right here is all in the green. Now, I want to show you a little bit better so we can actually see like what it looks like halfway or what if it looks like if you just have a little bit in there. Let's cut it down a little bit. There we go. And then we cut this one down, maybe like just a part here. Oh, still more. Now, these targets, in case you're wondering how they work, I'll probably try to answer that closer to the end. But I am doing a whole webinar on that tomorrow if you're interested. We'll talk all about targets. But you can see how this will look like. There we go. Total progress now. Okay, so it's a little bit different now. If we go to Act 1, our 2,000 words, we're only 710 worth the words way there. So really, this is not a first draft, right? This is in progress, right? And so we can kind of gauge where we're looking. We can even look at our label and say, is our label accurately like reflecting what is going on inside this chapter? So it is in progress. That looks good. I'm about what? About, I don't know, I'm not good at math. 1,200 or so words away from meeting that goal. Right. And if you do that consistently all throughout, you get a lot. It makes it really nice and clean to look at. So for example, let's just look at my project right here that I have here. Let's go in here to our outliner view. You can kind of see how that looks. Okay, looks like we've centered it. There we go. And so you can see I've hit all my targets. In fact, in many cases, I've exceeded them. I find that for me personally, that's kind of what happens. I'll set what I consider to be a reasonable target, right? And I'll try to hit that target and try not to go over because I have a tendency to go overboard and write a little bit too much. And so you'll often find me looking at this. I'm like, okay, I got too many words here. Can I condense this a little bit? Can I shorten it up? Can I tighten up the prose? And so it's going to vary from person to person depending on what kind of problems you have. If you tend to write less than the most person, you might be looking to add more words. If you tend to be more like me, where you write a little bit more than what you planned, then you're going to be looking at, scaling back and cutting back a little bit. The point is, though, I can kind of look at this at a glance and see where I'm at. I like this. I can kind of compare, like, you can see 2,700 to 2,500. This was 17,000 words. I was planning on about 16,000, 14,000 planning for 12,000, 11,000 planning for 8,000. Man, I don't think there's one where I wasn't over. So I'm always going over. That's just me. I tend to do that. But you can see, I can see that now. Whereas before I would have really no idea where I was or what I'd planned or what was going on there, I can see where I'm at, what's going on, maybe what areas of improvement I have going on for me. And it might even be worth looking at maybe adding my labels in here. With my labels in this case, I'm keeping track of viewpoints. I can even look and see, which characters are getting more words than other characters, for example. So Ned, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 chapters. He's kind of the main hero here, so it would make sense he would have a bit more, But there's a lot to kind of unpack here, a lot we can look at depending on what else you've set up in your project. Okay, so a lot of fun things you can do there. So that's our outliner. Okay, that's how we would use that, or that's one way we can tackle that tool. I would encourage you to jump in here, kind of mess around with it. You can see if we come over here, I didn't show every single tool available here. There are lots of other fun things you can look at in the outliner. My suggestion is to just start small, kind of look at some of these things, see what they do, what they are, kind of mess around with it and have some fun. I think that's the main thing to do. Make sure you're having some fun here. Okay. So that's our outliner. Let's look at bookmarks now. Okay. Now, bookmarks, they're in our inspector here, which is in the top right corner of Scrivener. Little eye right there. We can turn it off or on just like that. I can even make it bigger or smaller. I think we'll make it a little bit big so we can kind of see it a little bit better. And I think we'll just go to a document view so we can kind of see this a little bit better. And the bookmarks are right here. And you'll notice that by default, it's going to hit that document bookmarks first. So there are two different types of bookmarks. We have document bookmarks, and we have project bookmarks. And you'll notice right away that project bookmarks are something that are available everywhere. If I go to this scene template, whatever I put in project bookmarks are going to be available right there in every document, every folder, everywhere in my project. So the main thing to remember about project bookmarks or bookmarks in general is that it's going to be documents or websites or files that you use regularly. Okay. Things that you want quick access to, you're going to want to access it anywhere. So in this case, you can see by default, I've added my character list, I've added my settings list, and my project notes. Now, unfortunately, I don't have anything in any of those right now. Let's go over here and see if we can use this one instead. Yeah. So if we go to my character list here, I can access my character sketches, my character art, for example. Maybe let's see if we can load something here. Let's go to character art, add a line, and see I can load that directly in my inspector here so I can view it. So let's say I want a quick look at some character art for one of my characters. I could just come here and quickly find that really, really quickly just by skimming through a lot of my art here. And I could use that as I'm writing for just quick access, right? Same with my map. Let's say I need to check something on my map, for example, here. I can, if I'm looking for something here in Inkholm, I could actually look at the map that we've outlined and kind of feel like, okay, they're over by the South Gate, or maybe they're in these Bannock's Bridge here, I can use this as a tool for quick access to things I want access to anywhere. And like I said, it doesn't matter where I'm at in my project. My project bookmarks are available everywhere. Okay. Now with document bookmarks, it's a different story. Document bookmarks are specific to the document that you have open in the binder. So what does that mean? Let's open it up here. So we opened Ivel the Ripper, for example. See, it looks like I have the original scene here for this chapter before I updated it or something. I wanted to reference it. You notice that if I go to this next chapter here, I could have a different. Let's see. Let's just pull it here. You see, if I add a different scene to it, if I go back up to scene 1 here, Ned's original scene. We go back down to before Caius. There it is. The castle gate swung wide. So they are different. It's based on the document I have opened up here. So for example, maybe for my, what do you call it? My characters here, my chapter templates. I might want to come down to my chapter template and say, hey, I always want to have my character sheet for Ned available to me. So let's do that. Let's open, see if I can find, I got so many right there. Okay, there we go. And so I'll go back here. For the template, I always want to make sure that I have, I think I actually already did it, didn't I? Yeah, already did it. So if we come to, Ned, the red, Yeah, I already did it. So you can see I actually already have access to his document bookmark. So anytime I make a new scene with Ned in it, it'll reference back to that document bookmark will be referenced back to him. So for example, let's go to book 2 here. Let's go to Act 1 and let's create a new chapter. Actually, let's go to Act 2 because we've got some chapters there. Act 2A. I'm going to go ahead and add in a Ned scene or Ned chapter. Drop it in there, and we can see right away, there it is, my document bookmark. When I open it up, I can easily have access to that character sheet for that character. And likewise, I think we did the same thing. Hopefully I did the same thing for Revelo. Oh man, looks like I added a lot to Revelos. Don't know why I did that. If we want to remove some bookmarks, like why is that there? We can easily just click the minus button, or we can right click and click, where is it? Delete selected bookmark. So we'll do that. I don't need any of these here, I don't think. Delete, delete. Okay, there we go. And we would actually want to grab his, what do you call it? His character sheet and put it right there. Okay, we'll move those there too. And so when I create a new chapter for Revelo here, same thing. Now I have access to his bookmark whenever I open one of his chapters. And so that takes a little bit of thinking ahead, right? I went ahead and assigned that down here to one of my templates, but you could do that anytime. It doesn't have to be another template. That just makes it a little bit easier. I could come here and say, okay, I've created a new chapter here. This is for a new character. We'll call her Adeline, right? And I could say, okay, anytime I want Adeline to have, or rather, if I want to have Adeline's character sheet shown up here, I can come down here, I can grab it, if I can find it, antagonist, there it is, and drop it in there. And I'll always have access to it in this specific folder or document, as the case may be. So hopefully that makes sense. I know that can sometimes be a little bit difficult to wrap your head around, but it's just basically any document or folder you have selected, it'll have its own special document bookmarks, and it's going to vary depending on which one you have selected in the binder. Whereas, in contrast, our project bookmarks, this is just a general list of bookmarks available in any document, in any folder, everywhere in our project. Okay. And I would encourage you not to overdo it with these, kind of keep it pretty simple. Only put in there exactly what you need. So for example, maybe there are some websites I want to add in here. I could easily do that. I could actually come in here and click add external bookmark and then enter in a URL I want. So for example, I do recommend you actually go to the website in question and you search it and you actually paste that in there. Now I'm going to go ahead and delete that and add it in again. Let's do add external bookmark, paste, and this is my author website, for example. Say I want to have access to that regularly. I can actually click that now. And now I'm able to actually click load web page and load it up right here in Scrivener. No thanks. And now I can access my entire Substack right here in Scrivener. Okay, pretty cool, right? And it's not just obviously this. You could use just about anything you wanted here, right here inside of your bookmark viewer right here. If you want to get rid of it too, just click the minus sign, and there it goes. It's gone, just like that. So that is a really great and powerful thing to do. It's an excellent tool for keeping track of key documents or websites that you want to have access to at any point. And you can see here, this contextual menu allows us to kind of view this anywhere we want to, either add internal or external bookmarks, open them in the editor, open them in a different editor, and a lot of other fun things we can do as well here. We can even reveal it in the binder if it's in the binder, like so. There it is, right there. Okay. So that is bookmarks. Okay, let's go ahead and stop share for just a second, and we'll dive right back into our presentation. Okay. So we got 3 more tools to look at. Maybe we'll try to go through all 3 of them, and then we'll just go through them one by one as a demonstration. So next is Scrivener's composition mode. Okay. Now, this is a feature designed to immerse you fully in your writing by minimizing distractions and maximizing focus. When you activate composition mode, your document expands to fill the entire screen, effectively eliminating any potential interruptions from other applications or notifications. Now, this clean, uncluttered workspace is perfect for writers looking to dive deep into their work without the constant pull of external stimuli. Now, what's really, really cool is that even though Scrivener's tools are not visible right away, they really are still just a click away via a hidden toolbar at the bottom of your screen. Now, Scrivener grants you the flexibility to work with as many tools as you, or as few tools as you prefer in this mode. So we'll take a look at that in just a second here. You can see right away there we can do a lot of fun things. We can adjust the view. We can look at the inspector. We can navigate the binder. We can use our focus mode on max only. We can use the typewriter mode and keywords and text statistics and all sorts of fun stuff if we want to. After that, we're going to take a peek at Scrivener's linguistic focus tool, which allows you to highlight different parts of speech within your document, such as nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. And by so doing, it provides a detailed look at the linguistic structure of your writing, helping you identify any potential overuse of certain words or parts of speech. Now, please note that this feature is not fully available for PC users. Instead, they have a similar tool that's called Dialogue Focus. And what it does is it actually highlights the direct speech or dialogue and fades out the rest for of the text for easier identification. That's something we hope to improve in time, so bear with us, but that's just how it is for PC users at the moment. Now, the linguistic focus tool is particularly beneficial during the editing phase, as it can spotlight areas where you might want to improve your sentence variety or reduce redundancy. And this enhanced awareness of your language choices contributes to crafting more engaging and polished prose. And last but not least, this fun one we have here is the Scrivener's name generator. And it is an invaluable resource for any writer facing the common challenge of naming characters or places within their work. Now, this feature provides a comprehensive and customizable database from which you can draw inspiration, ensuring that the names you choose are authentic, varied, and fitting your narrative universe. Now, the name generator allows you to set specific parameters to tailor suggestions to your needs, such as selecting cultural origins, first and last name combinations, and even the obscurity level of your names. Now, this ensures that the names align perfectly with the context of your story, whether you're writing a historical novel with period accurate names or a fantasy saga requiring unique and imaginative monikers. Now, the name generator offers a wide range of options to boost creative efficiency, liberating you from that tedious task of manual name searching and enabling you to concentrate on actually crafting your story. Now, you can even incorporate your own custom names lists for added variety, or merely use the generated names as placeholders until you find that perfect fit. And to be honest, that's what I do most. I usually just generate a bunch of names and like, oh, I like these, and some of them I'll use and they'll stay, and some of them I'm just like, okay, that's just a placeholder. I just need a name right now to get me through this. Okay. So let's look at these three tools. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and we'll get on this party started here. That's not it. There we go. Okay, let's get back into Scrivener, and let's take a peek at what we can do here. So we're looking at composition mode next. So we're gonna go here. I'm just gonna select the prologue and the first section. The first scene rather. And right here in the top right corner, there is a button that says compose. And that is how we enter composition mode. We could also go up here and search enter composition mode right there. And it'll pull that right up for us. Hit enter, and there we go. Takes us right into composition mode. You can kind of see things just disappeared. Now we just have a full screen of just our text. Now, this may be a bit wide and big for some people, in which case we can actually narrow it down using this lovely toolbar right here. Unfortunately, my dock kind of gets in the way here, so I'm going to quickly just change that. I forget, I usually have it on the side, but for this computer sometimes I like it on the bottom. Let me get that switched over just real quick for us so it's not in the way. Dock settings. Left. There we go. Okay, now I can use that without my dock popping up on me. So there we go. We have our text scale set to 200%. That's my recommendation. I just happen to like that. If you need more, obviously you can go higher. If you want less, you can go less. That's just what I like. I can adjust the paper position, but currently it's taking up the whole screen, so I can't adjust that until I adjust my paper width. So if I want it smaller, I can make it really narrow. I can make it really, really wide. It's up to you. I kind of like it somewhere in the middle, right about there. And I can even adjust the position if I could move it to the left, I can move it to the right, wherever I want to. And you'll notice too, I also have the option to fade the background in and out like so. So there may be a reason why I want to move this over, I suppose, to have access to some other content on my screen. But really, typically, I don't mess with the background fade too much. I just leave it as it is and have it just like that. Now we can also access some other great tools here. But before we do that, let's just scroll down and see what this looks like. This is with typewriter mode turned on. If I turn it off, it puts it towards the bottom of the screen. So I'm typing at the bottom. But personally, I love that typewriter mode, so I can actually have it kind of fixated right in the center of my screen where my eyes are, right? I don't have to worry about looking down or looking up. No matter where I'm typing, it's going to keep that right there at the center of my eye line. You can see right there, I can turn it on or off by clicking the typewriter right here. If it's on if the writer is filled in, it's off if the typewriter is not filled in. Okay, let's see here. We looked at that. Okay, let's look at the inspector. So the inspector is available in here as well. I can look at my synopsis and notes. I can look at a picture if I have one assigned to this index card. I can look at keywords. I can look at bookmarks. Okay. I can even add them in case I don't have any on this one. I can look at project bookmarks. So I can access all my project bookmarks here as well. So bookmarks right here, this is just document bookmarks. Bookmarks right here is project bookmarks. I can access custom metadata if I have any of that. Many of you may not be quite familiar with that. This is an extra cool, really cool tool that I talk about, and you could do a lot of fun things with. But for now, just know that it exists. I can even do comments and footnotes right here as well. Basically, hopefully you get the picture here is that even though I'm in composition mode, I still have access to a lot of really powerful tools right here at my disposal, right from the inspector. From there, I can even navigate the binder by using this go-to tool right here. I can click go-to, and I can actually go anywhere I want to. You see my project bookmarks are right here at the top, which is excellent. I can access those right away, or I can go anywhere I want to in the structure of my project here. So here is the prologue where I am right there. That little check mark lets me know. I can go up above to this little seam above it, has the Champion's Creed there, or Oath, or whatever it is. I can go down to a different section of my project altogether and go to Act 1, Chapter 1, Scene, like so. There's nothing there, but I could. And so I just love the ability to navigate my project just like this anywhere I want to go really quickly and very easily and just get to work. And if you wanted to, you could literally probably work primarily from the composition mode and just kind of block everything out, focusing on here, navigate around, and kind of treat this as your like little distraction-free writing studio. I really like that. Now, just to demonstrate this a little bit better, let's go back to our scene one of the prologue. And let's look at our focus. Now, this focus mode, unfortunately, this is only available for Mac users. It's another tool we hope to bring to PC in time. But you can see here, we can actually focus the line. So about wherever line I have, that's the line that's going to be focused. Everything else kind of goes away, kind of just blends in. I could focus in a sentence. So it actually picks the whole sentence. I could focus in to a paragraph as well and get the whole paragraph kind of removes distractions even further by focusing on specifically what I want it to. Okay. So that's kind of handy. And it's actually, in some ways, it's very similar to our linguistic focus and our dialogue focus that you'll learn about here in just a minute. We'll turn off the focus off, and then everything kind of gets back to normal. It looks like we turned typewriter off. Did we? Oh, yep, there we go. Okay. Looking good. We talked about typewriter mode. If you use keywords, you can access keywords here. I don't have a lot of keywords in this specific project, but they're available right there to you. You can get access to them. You can see where they are and potentially even assign them. And let's see here. Text statistics. Okay, one last thing here we can look at is our text statistics, if I could say the word. You can see we're at 2,661 out of 2,500. If I click that, I get even more information. I get the total word count, characters with no spaces, how many paragraphs, how many sentences, the average paragraph length, the average sentence length, reading time even. I can also include the comments and footnotes in that statistics as well. So a lot of fun things we can do here. Now we can actually exit out here by clicking this button in the bottom right corner, or by just simply pressing our escape key, and it'll take us right back to our regular view. So that's composition mode in a nutshell. I hope you'll find that useful, and I'd encourage you to give that a try. Let's look now at linguistic focus. Okay. Now, this is great by going to View. Actually, no, not View, sorry. Edit, Writing Tools, and then there it is, linguistic focus. And the reason it's grayed out is because I don't have a document selected. If I click inside here and I go to View, I hate it to View again. Edit, and then Writing Tools, and then there we go, linguistic focus. You can see right there too, our name generator is there as well. We'll go ahead and click that. And it'll just pull up this tiny little window, and it's very simple to use. We just click the thing we want to focus, and we get it, and it'll focus it up for us. So we have direct speech, we have nouns, we have pronouns, and then even cooler is that it actually tells you how many are included in each one. 218 pronouns, 564 verbs, 175 adjectives. If you're not a fan of adverbs, you can see I have way too many adverbs, a lot of adverbs. I actually don't think adverbs are as bad as everyone thinks they are, but yeah, they definitely can be a problem here. Prepositions, conjunctions, and direct speech. So there we go. We can kind of mess around with those and kind of see that. I like the direct speech in particular. So even though PC users, you only have the direct speech, personally, that's my favorite one anyway. I love being able to go through my dialogue here and just kind of fade everything else out and just focus on the dialogue and kind of almost run it back and forth like it was a scene, like just like a screenplay or something, and kind of go through and like, does this sound natural? Does this sound cool? Does this sound funny or serious or whatever? What tone am I going for? What's going on here, right? How do I want it to sound? Now I can also adjust the fade here. I can make it so it's barely faded at all to being completely faded out, as in I can't see any of it really, unless I have it like selected, right? Which case I can at that point. But yeah, it just kind of fades everything out. Personally, I like it right here where I can kind of still, oops, not that far. I can kind of still see it, but it's not too much. It's still there, but not really there. But depending on what you're using it for, that may make a difference. So there we go. Oh, it even tells me, sorry, 71 quotes. So 71 direct speech sections there. So pretty cool. I really like this tool. It's a fun tool to mess around with. So there we go. That's linguistic focus in a nutshell. And last but not least, we have our name generator. And we can go to, once again, to Edit, Writing Tools, Name Generator. It'll pull up this window here. Okay. This nice, big, beautiful window. And we have here the option to adjust some settings here to get exactly what we're looking for. You can have generate from anywhere from 1 up to 500 names. And depending what you're using it for, you may want to do something like that. I typically keep it pretty low. I'll probably do in the realm of like 75. That seems reasonable. And you could separate it as male, female, or either, kind of unisex. Going for that kind of thing. We can attempt alliteration, which means the names will try to begin with the same letter. We can do double-barreled surnames. We could have the forenames use their initials only and have the number of forename initials be 2, for example. So there's other fun things we can do here. We can adjust the obscurity level, make it lower or higher. And then we can also come here and select the list of names here. And you can see by default, there are a lot of names listed. These ones right here, okay, one of the things I'll say, the Norse names, those are ones that I've added in myself. But yeah, there are a lot of names that are here just by default that you could use. So let's take a look at this. I'm going to go ahead and uncheck some things. Next, I'm going to go ahead and remove that too. That's one I brought in from a different day. And let's just say we went with let's just do forenames, male, female. Let's do literary surnames. Let's go with that. So we have some forenames, we have some surnames. You do have to have at least one of each for this to work. And we'll go ahead and do gender male, and we'll generate 75 male names. Okay, now names are subjective, right? So we turned down alliteration and double barreled, so that gave us some really interesting results. We also did the number of forenames as 2. I think we just want 1. There we go. Okay, there we go. So this gives us a nice list of just single names. Now, one thing you may notice, I just generated 3 different lists. When I generate a new list, the old list is gone. So make sure before you generate a new list, if there's something there you liked, you want to make sure you copy this over to somewhere first. Okay. So go ahead and select all that and copy it. I'll probably throw that in here at my character area and just create a new document. Oops, no, not what I wanted. We'll just do it in notes for now. We'll come in here and create this. We'll call it character. We'll call it a male character name list. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and drop those names in right there. And that way I just have a quick name of lists that I can draw from. And so I could do the same thing again. I could do a female character name list. I could do a unisex character name list kind of a thing. And so we'll switch over to female. This time we'll do attempt alliteration, and we'll do the double barreled so we can kind of see that again like that. It does make them quite a bit bigger, and there's a lot more to look at there. Copy those over like so. And we'll turn off attempt alliteration, turn off double barreled, and then we'll actually turn on forenames, use initial only. We'll do 2 initials. Generate those 75 names, and then okay, there we go. We got some 2 initial names here as well. Now, obviously, this might not be the best way to go about doing this, but I put them in the wrong place too. So we'll change this to female, and this one to unisex, but just to kind of demonstrate what's possible here, like so. And we had our obscurity kind of set towards the middle here. I could have gone lower. I could have gone higher. If we go low, let's go ahead and do that. And this time we'll just do 1 forename. And we'll do either no initials and go ahead and click generate. There we go. Like that. We'll take those guys and we'll drop it in here as well. So we have a little bit of both like that. Okay, looking good. Now we can come in here. We can just select different lists. We can, there's popular British names, Polish names, Japanese names, Finnish, Catalan, all sorts of fun stuff here. Or we could even come in here and do what I did. And I brought in some, at the time I was really interested in Norse mythology. So I brought in both a bunch of names from that culture, from Vikings and things like that. And so just to give you an idea of how you might go about doing that, okay, we can actually click this plus button in the bottom right corner here and add a custom name list. Now this kind of goes a little bit beyond the scope of what I planned to do today, but that's okay. We'll just kind of take a peek at how this might work. We click that button. I'll go to my demo examples here. I believe it's in here. There it is, custom name list. And what it is a CSV file. And that file right here, you can see it just has a list of names on a single row they go all the way across here, like so. If you open it up the Excel file, it would just be all these names across in a single row from the top row all the way across. Now, ideally, if you want to use the obscurity feature, the more common names should be at the beginning of the list, and the more obscure names should be at the end of the list. Okay, let's go ahead and add that in just so we can see what it looks like. Okay, there we go. It'll ask me to please provide the following details about the important name list. We'll call this Norse female, and it is actually like so. That's kind of the format we've been using here, and I think it is actually 4 names, or like so. There we go. Like that. We'll click OK. Oops, I got to change this to female 4 names. Okay. That way I know, are they ordered by popularity? That'll determine if we're using the obscurity level or not. We'll click that there. There they are. And we'll click OK. And now I can actually use that. There it is right there. I can click that guy right there. I can do female names. And we'll turn off these guys right here. And we'll just use the Norse female names there. generate those 75 names. And there we go. You can kind of see how that was done. Those names are there. And there's a lot of repetition here, it looks like, because I don't have, it's not a very big list to pull from. So the bigger the list, the more you can do. That's kind of how that would work. So of course, there's more on how you could do that, setting up how to set up that CSV file and all that fun stuff is kind of a little bit more. But if we have interest in that, we can look at that at the end, maybe a little bit more. But that's the name generator in itself. In most cases, I think for most of you, what you have here is going to be more than enough. A lot of fun stuff we can do here. So there we go. Let's go ahead and close that out. I think that's about it for today. Let me just go ahead and open up my presentation here. We'll cover our last few slides. Let's see if I missed anything before I dive on here. I don't think so. I think we covered everything. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and dive right into our last few slides here, and then we'll open up for our Q&A for any questions you guys may have. So let's go to this, share, close that out, and let us look at what we got left. So once again, I'd love to remind you that I love connecting with you guys after this. So if you have any questions for me, you want to learn more about what I'm doing or what's going on with Scrivener, send me an email. Use this link, ogevinson.com/links. I'll get you taken care of. I saw some of you have already jumped onto some of the stuff I'm doing, so I appreciate that. I hope you were enjoying the events we had this week so far. Of course, we have our full webinar library. We have our user manuals, user forum, blog and video tutorials available at literatureandlogic.com, and my also personal website, ogevinson.com/tools, and a full knowledge base. So there's just tons and tons of resources. My recommendation to you is just choose one and get started. Oops, I forgot to remove this one from my thing. Okay, so we're down to our Q&A. So hopefully that wasn't too much for everyone. But if you have any questions that I can't get to today, like either I can't answer it in today's session or you just think of it after the fact, these are the email addresses that you should send those to: scrivener/mac@literatureandlogic.com, scrivener/win, scrivener/mobile, and scapple@literatureandlogic.com if you're having a problem with Scapple. Ideally, if you can send it to the platform you're using, that would be great. But one way or the other will get you where you need to go. And of course, if you have any questions for me, events and things that I'm doing, content you'd like to see, let me know. Reach out to me at contact@ogevinson.com. I'd be happy to attend to that. So there we go. Okay.
Thank you so much. I think that was just amazing. Mind blown. I have so many buttons to go click. I'm very excited. Oliver, there's some questions in the chat. So I'm just quickly going to scroll back. All the way back. Sorry. So Patrick has asked, I think this is when you were in the labels and the bookmarks. Is the text itself accessible from those chapter folders that you were working on?
Okay, sorry, I cut out. Can you repeat that?
Sorry, so I think what Patrick has asked is the text itself accessible from the chapter folders that you're currently working on? So for example, in the chapter summary or in the corkboard, if I click on that block, will it take me through to the chapter to make edits?
Yes, it should. Yeah, let me look at that and see. So if I'm understanding correctly, if I'm in the corkboard view, right? And let's say, okay, let's go to the corkboard view here like this, right? And so you can see I have my summaries here, right? I can double click inside, I can edit this. I can double click that icon, it'll take me inside this part. You can see those there, right? I can double click inside this chapter, right? It'll take me inside that chapter to the scenes that are inside of it, in case there's just one scene here. Then I can double click that icon, it'll take me inside the text to start working. Yeah. So yeah, just like that. That's actually how I would navigate when I'm inside my binder here, or in my corkboard here. I can kind of go through each of these. I'm trying to see if I can find one that has, yeah, there we go. The Soul Torn has multiple scenes in it, so I can double click it. I can look at each of these individual scenes, kind of see what's going on there, and then say I want to do the middle scene here, and come in here and get to work on it, right?
Yeah. Patrick, that was your question, right? Okay, great stuff.
Perfect. Okay.
Awesome. Patty has asked, weird question, but can I reduce the margins for my documents in the laptop screen view?
reduce the margins in your for your documents.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Patty, do you want to jump in here and let us know?
Yeah, so actually, after I asked that, he showed us the composition view, and that's exactly what I wanted. So
Okay.
I'm good. Yeah.
So like this, right?
Yes. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's how you would do
No,
that.
we live
I
to
mean,
serve, Patty.
yeah. One thing I'll add to that, if you wanted in this view, you could actually get a show page view option here as well to kind of give you that kind of Microsoft Word-esque feel where you're looking at a page. And another nice thing too is that you can actually see how many pages it would be with your current formatting down here.
Okay, so how did you do that? Show
we go
page.
to view, and it's sorry, let's view show page view.
Oh, okay.
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 And once you turn it on, it'll be hide page view. Okay.
Right.
And we can also search that up here as well and find that. So that's
Okay,
a
good.
handy one to know too. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. Patrick, is another question where you asked, would it actually matter? And I think you were referring to the labels on the timeline view. Do you want to ask that again, Patrick? You're muted.
Like he's working it.
Oh, sorry. Can you
There we
repeat
go.
that?
Your question was, but would that actually matter? And I think it was while Oliver was explaining these blocks about tracking the viewpoint characters and tracking the types of scenes and the labels and everything.
Yeah. I can't quite remember what I was responding to. I've got to be honest.
That's no worries.
I can't
Okay.
remember what I was referring to.
Okay, no,
Sorry.
that's perfect. So I think it was about the viewpoint characters, but I mean, we've got that. So let's quickly. Oh, so Oliver, my question was, I work in Scapel as well. And I have character lists built in Scapel. So I have a background note for the scene number, and then I have all the characters listed in every scene just to keep track of who's where and when they're there. How easy is it to import Scapel documents into my binder, and how do they appear?
That's another good
That's a
one.
great question. Yeah, that's actually really pretty easy. And since I moved my doc, it's fine. Let me just open it up here real quick. I'm gonna open up Scapel here. It should just pop up here for us. So it's really pretty easy to do. So I can open up. This was my original Scapel document for this novel, actually. You can see we have our character sketches in here. And for a long time, I actually only had them in here. I didn't have them in my Scrivener projects, and I would have the two open at the same time. But I've since, kind of moved things over. But it's really pretty easy to move things in and out of Scrivener. Okay. So for example, this kind of document here, I could actually open this up. Let's say we go to my characters here, and there's my character sketches. I could actually just drag and drop this whole document in like this. And it comes in as a group. You can see all of it comes in, all the notes are separate. So that's one kind of maybe disadvantage here is that I have to kind of combine things together, but it's not too bad actually. I can actually come up here real quick. I can select all of these like so in any order I want them to be in. Then I could go to documents, merge, and then merge them. It's going to let me know it can't be undone. There we go. Now it's all merged into one document.
All right, so
just like that.
Just to understand, each block that I have in Scapel, it'll bring it as a separate doc, and then I bring it into Scrivener, and I merge them, and then I have my doc back.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly. Yep. Pretty
cool.
handy. And you see that image there too that I had too? I can even come over here and switch my synopsis to an image. I can drag the image right there, and there now the image is attached as well. And so it all becomes one single little document I could use. I could even just go ahead and move it to the trash. There I go. Now I've got Nira's full, what do you call it? Character sketch brought in Scrivener and just a few quick steps. Pretty easy. I really like that. And you could do that. It's not just that if you have an outline in here, you want to bring in your outline. You can see I kind of had like this kind of, let me see, weird outline going on here. Where'd it go? Yeah, over here. So I could actually bring in my entire outline, just drag and drop it in like so. Becomes a group. It takes a little bit of reorganization, a little bit of work here, but it's not too hard. You kind of you know what you're looking at because it's your project, right? You'll kind of see, okay, that goes there, and you can quickly reorganize it and get it into where it needs to go. And in this way, look at this now. It's already set up for me, right? If I did my whole outline in here, here's my outline. I could just brought it right in the script and I can get right to work. And even better, it puts it in the synopsis and it puts it in the text of the document. So I can kind of use this as a springboard and just get started writing. I find that to be very handy.
Okay. Yeah, I adore Scapple. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, Patrick, your other question was, what is the white stuff the lad is standing
Oh
in
yeah,
front of?
that's nothing to do with Scrivener, but there was a two of the guys standing in front of. I don't know what it was. Do you remember that?
Maybe
There was
just a image of his character on a white background. I'm not quite sure.
there was in some sort of warehouse, and in front of him and to his left was a load of. I don't know. Was it an artwork? Like something from the tape gallery? I haven't a clue. I was just curious. Nothing to do with Scrivener.
I'm not sure, but we'll if we come across it again, we'll definitely ask, or we'll definitely
Let
check.
me know.
Chart had an interesting question. Does any of the name generators or the language focus work in a language other than English?
Oh, that is a good question. Technically, the name generator in particular, right? It's going to work in it's going to generate, it does have different names from different cultures, right? So it definitely would work, I guess, in the sense that, we have different cultures' names there. And of course, you can add in those custom names like I showed everyone. So if you wanted to add in names that weren't there, you could certainly do that. As for the linguistic focus, I honestly don't know. I'd have to you probably would want to email that one in and double check, because we can come in here into settings and I can adjust the language, I guess, and we could try. Let's see here. But let's do French. Let's actually, you know what? That's just gonna do the interface. Yeah, I would email that one in. Oh, there we go. There we go. Linguistic focus uses Spanish style dialogue, but it looks like it might be limited to English, but I would email that one in and find out and see if it works with other languages. That's a good question that I honestly don't know the answer to.
Okay. All right. No worries. Sorry, I'm just going through the chat again. So Patty is bummed that the PC won't do all the linguistic focus tools. Any idea when the PC will be improved? The PC focus.
Interesting thing about that whole thing. So believe it or not, like a long time ago, we hired a developer to help us with the PC version. And we kind of actually lost control of the PC app for a while. Like there was a whole contract problem. Yeah. You don't want to hear the whole story. Anyway, recently, yeah, it was not fun. So recently we got that all back. They worked it all out. They got everything. It's now completely back with the original owner and creator of Scrivener. And he hired a new developer in-house to work on it. And so I will say that whereas before Scrivener for Windows was not as actively developed, it is being actively developed now. But the thing is, it's just one guy. So one guy, I guess it's like three guys, but there's only one guy who's actually, assigned to working on it right now. So it does take us a little bit longer. We're a small outfit or smaller company, so it takes us more time. But I can assure you that we are working on it. So it's not like we've just like, oh, we're not thinking about it at all. It just takes us a while to get all our ducks in a row. So we appreciate your patience.
As someone who's been working with IT for a really, really long time, don't rush the IT. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't. It's just, it ends badly every time. Okay. So Chart, I think we answered your question with how well does Scrivener handle the other languages. If not, please ask again. But yeah, I don't think I saw Thai or Cyrillic. Art has asked, this is a question that we've had before or that we've discussed. Is there a way to access an outside dictionary? Like, I mean, Word offers a synonym function and all of those things. Is there any way we can access a different dictionary? Because it doesn't seem to be very robust.
So
if I may
come here. We can for spelling and grammar, for example. Now this is on a Mac and maybe a little bit different on PCs. we can adjust the spelling dictionary language here based on, this is a macOS feature right here. I think Windows has a similar type thing where you can change the spelling and dictionary language as well. So that's one thing we can change in terms of like spelling and grammar. There was another thing I was thinking, but I just blanked on it. What it was? Can you remind me the original question again, so I can maybe it'll jog
Just
my
if you
memory.
can access an outside dictionary or a different dictionary.
Ah, that's right. Yes. So we can access like a dictionary. Like, so we right click here. We can go to, where is it? We can look up. In this case, on PC, it's going to be actually say dictionary. So if you right click a word or something, you scroll, you look in this contextual menu, there'll be the word dictionary here, somewhere here in the middle, and you can click that dictionary. It'll take you to a dictionary that you could use, right? That's not inside Scrivener that you could use. And similar here, like I can look it up. I can open up the actual macOS dictionary built in here, like so. You can see it's right there as well. And it'll pop that up over here like this. And so, I mean, they both have it, both the PC version and the Mac version. The dictionaries are different because there's the Windows dictionary and there's the Mac dictionary. And so how Windows and PC, how PC and Mac handle their dictionaries is going to be a little bit different, but they're both available to Scrivener users.
Okay. And then Patty has said it's kind of like drinking water from a fire hydrant. Yes. Okay. Any new computer program is going to be overwhelming. Okay. You're going to start with one function and you're going to add another function. I've never used labels and bookmarks. I'm currently very excited about labels and bookmarks because I'm going to dive into all of those. But I mean, Oliver, what advice do you have? What would the most basic be? You'd start with a binder, or what would you do?
Honestly, I mean, I would just start writing. I mean, yeah, maybe just open up your binder and maybe create a very simple structure, right? So like we did over here, we just create a very simple structure that we can work with. Maybe even if you're feeling really like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, create a blank project here. We'll just call it novel real quick and just say, okay, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I can create a document, right? I can add a folder here and I can call this a chapter. I can throw a scene inside my chapter, right? And then I can get started right away, right? Just get started writing. And then just start that, just start with that. And then when you're ready to write your next chapter, your next scene, right? Come on here, click your next document. Click your next folder, slowly build it up, right? Just start small. I mean, I think that's kind of the whole point of Scrivener anyway, is that we have all these great tools and features and things that you kind of can get used to and use and do really incredible things. But the whole thing started out with the idea of like, I don't like writing a linear document from top to bottom. I may want to write chapter 5 before I write chapter 1. Maybe I write chapter 5. I didn't realize it was chapter 5. I'm like, no, I'm going to go back now and write, what came before, this idea that I can start anywhere and kind of like build it in small, tiny chunks, right? And until it becomes something grand and beautiful.
Grand and beautiful. That is the goal.
Yep.
Patty, I know I started with my document. I mean, I didn't start writing in Scrivener. I imported a whole bunch of docs from Word. So I literally had all my scenes in each on a different document. And there was an import button. I said import, I highlighted, and boom, it did it all. So, and that was for the longest time the only thing I did. And then I figured, oh, look, this happens. And oh, this happens. So that was just, I built it baby steps. Okay.
Yes. Great.
Yeah. And
Cool.
that's actually one of my favorite ways to do it too, because it kind of forces you to get familiar with Scrivener, because you kind of have to, you have your project and you know what it is, right? You just kind of have to reorganize it, figure out where the pieces go and clean it up, make it look nice. And doing that is learning Scrivener. That's practicing with Scrivener. That's getting comfortable with the app. That's a good way to get started if you have a project that's like halfway through,
So Sarah said, I think this is when we're talking about Scapel. She said, wait, that merged document doesn't have the same concept map type view. There's no way to preserve that. Maybe Scapel can be exported as an image and then imported as an image into Scrivener. Scrivener is Scapel, sorry, is very visual, Sarah. So I do screenshots, or say you can save it as a PDF. Oliver, I don't know if you have a better way of doing it.
That's next. I agree. Yep. You can do PDF. a PNG file. We can actually just export the text itself. We can do images. Yeah. You could just literally, like you said, you could literally just take a screenshot like this, right? Or even, like that. And you could use those screenshots and drag and drop those images directly into Scrivener. Personally, though, I think visually initially, and then I start thinking in words after that. Like when I move things into Scrivener, I personally don't think in images anymore. I kind of transition from that point to just working words. So I think I see Scapple as my visual tool, and I see Scrivener as my writing tool. And so I mean both, you could do both, right? You don't have to do it that way. This just happens to be how I use it. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then, yeah, just our last comment. Patrick asked, on a side note, do folks here agree that style, assuming you are consciously on top of it and actively working with it as much as possible, with story and plot, override the linguistic focus and getting the grammar right?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah.
Patrick,
I
it's
Yeah.
always going to be a tool. Okay. We all have hammers. Okay. But how I use a hammer and how Oliver uses a hammer and how you use a hammer is different. And
I
that is,
was about to make the same point. Yeah, it's true. I mean, everything is individual. Yeah.
it's a tool. And yes,
It's
I mean,
just like
otherwise,
it occurred. Sorry, it occurred
no,
to me that some people who don't have as much confidence as they might, or they might gain, might be a tad inhibited if their grammar keeps getting corrected. Do you know what I mean? And that kind of thing can, for some people, work against imagination and creativity.
Oh, I agree.
What I'm saying is that we mustn't be in danger of putting the cart before the horse. Imagination, creativity comes first. Yes, other things afterwards. And that was really, I probably made my point badly.
no, that's perfect.
No,
Sorry?
I agree. I agree. Yeah, definitely. I'm all about just getting it out there, enjoying that creative process. A lot of these tools, I don't think in terms of like, oh, how do I put it? It's more about, helping me after the point. How can I improve what I've done? I'm rarely thinking in terms of like, I turn off my spelling and grammar, for example. I hate spelling and grammar. Grammar was like my least favorite class in school. I didn't learn it. I'm not good at it. I feel like it should just kind of come naturally in the way we speak and we do things. I mean, obviously it's a useful tool. It's important. We have those rules and we have those things for a reason, but they're not why we write, right? That's not at all why we write. They're just a help, right? To get us to make sure that our message is clear. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you there.
No, I like the linguistic tools in terms of you use this word a lot because I promise you, every single one of us have a word. Okay.
Crutch
It's
words,
there.
yeah.
Has a word. Yeah, it's there. We use it too much and everything. And this is the kind of tool that just makes you aware of that kind of thing. If you're deliberately using that as a form of repetition and it is intentional and it adds to your theme or it highlights something, by all means, go ahead and use it. And then you have to have the confidence and the know-how to override the system to say, thank you for your suggestion. I don't need this. Okay.
Yeah.
But this is always just a tool, and the final say so and the final thing rests with you. That's what it comes down to. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool.
There's also the point, and I keep having to remind myself about this, that there are as many different writers as there are readers, and different readers just enjoy complete different stuff. There's no this is better than that. I just don't agree with that at all. It's there's fantasy, there's this, there's that. And I have to keep reminding myself of that line because I'm a bit arrogant in that respect. But it's just horses for courses, to use a cliche.
It's very easy to fall into the trap of what your writing should be according to other people and according to all of, what is supposed to. But I always think we all should have this little fight in ourselves of what you want your writing to be first. I think that's the most important.
Okay. Write for yourself.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, and then we'll go from there. Okay.
Yeah.
It's cool, Patty. We need our grammar nerds too, okay? Because there are people like me who need some help sometimes, okay?
What we do need
Um,
those people because they can help us. Those of us who don't don't like it.
Very cool. Okay. I think our questions are done for the moment. I have shared a link in the chat if you want to go take a look. That is a little Scrivener page that I set up on the site. Oliver's links are all on there. The links to these classes are on there as well. It is an affiliate link. If you do make the purchase of Scrivener through using that link, Deadlines for Writers receives a tiny commission. It is no cost to you, but it does help us to maintain and support the site. So it would be wonderful if you could use that. But otherwise, are there any more questions? Anything else you're thinking about? Or can we set Oliver free into the rest of his Thursday? That's the day of the week.
That's the day. Yeah.
Okay. Cool stuff. Sarah says, thank you. Writing on creativity. Watch the beginner video before. Great. Oh, thank you, Sarah. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Thanks, Chart. Thank you for everyone who has joined us. We really appreciate it. Oliver, anything else you wanted to add?
Just keep on writing.
Good advice. Okay. No, good stuff. Thanks, friends. The replay will go out most likely sometimes early tomorrow. And then any questions you're welcome to ask again and again. Oliver's links are in there. Go check out his wonderful YouTube resources and everything for those of you who want to dive even deeper. I'm going to have to watch the label and bookmark part again and again. But it seems awesome and amazing. So good stuff. Thank you so much for your time, Oliver. I really appreciate it. And everyone else, go off and write those stories. Okay. Thank you so much.
See ya.
See you again. All right. Bye-bye.